Hello, welcome to the first episode of Collector or Hoarder. Yes, I'm sure this gonna anger some people. I'm sure this series gonna rile up some people. There's gonna be a whole lot of people exercising the right to thumbs down because they just can't stand that I have so many duplicates of things showing off. Yeah. You know, for a long time, for decades, I was definitely a collector. Okay, the thoughts of buying multiple copies of anything was not really in my DNA. I only bought multiple copies of one book for decades, for the first 20 years of my collecting life. It was Thor 337. I talk about that book many times because I bought it off the rack and I love it so much that I was literally afraid that I am going to read that book to death. So I went out and bought a second copy the day after. But that's the only book, okay? And this series is really just me because I know there's other people out there that right off the get-go bought multiple copies, okay? And you can call yourself collectors. You hate the term hoarders. That's okay. I don't care. You know how it is. People in this hobby do not like to be labeled of any sort, right? Because it is what it is. I don't mind calling myself a hoarder. I don't mind calling myself a flipper. Other people might want to throw those terms to me to insult me. Guess what? I like money. But for me, the thought of buying more than one never crossed my mind. Even in my early days of buying back issues. You know, some people, and many of you probably fit into this category. You want something, you buy a low grade copy, or you bought what you thought was the best you can afford at the time, and then over the years you update, you upgrade, right? There's an ongoing upgrade cycle. That wasn't really it for me. You know, even in my early days of collecting, even when I didn't have a lot of money, I didn't want to settle for less. You know, I was a high grade snob from the get-go, so I didn't want to buy low or mid-grade stuff just to have it. That was just not me. That's not my DNA. Okay, I was not yet. You know, I was in the mindset that I'm gonna be patient and I'm gonna wait until the right copy. So that was the way I am. And I was very happy years later to find out some of the books that I bought and saved up to buy back in the 80s became 9/8. I fell in love with John Byrne X-Men books, and I save, I crimp, and I was very patient, very picky in buying things. And many of the books that I bought back then and slapped back in 2008 turned out to be 9/8. So I did the right thing for me. Of course, one failure was an X-Men 94 that turned out to be Restore. But when did that change? When did the mindset of hoarding come into play? I don't think I realized it until later, but it's really started at the age of the internet. When I start to buy back issues back in 2000, when eBay was new and it was like a candy store. It was just like, oh my god, all these for 19 years, from 1981 to 1999. Buying was so hard, things were so hard to find, and then all of a sudden in 1999, eBay, and the next thing you know, oh my God, everything was in multiple listings. You can buy multiple copies. You can buy all kind of different grades. On top of that, I was making good money. So I was going out of control, completely out of control in late 1999 through 2003. Completely insanity of buying things that look good to me, even if I already have a copy. And I didn't look at that as hoarding. You know, I was drunken in the moment of euphoria of seeing so many goodness on eBay. Um, only after, okay, only after a few years after I realized that, oh my God, I have multiple copy of this stuff. I have turned into a hoarder. And since then, okay, so since 2008, I have hoarded many things because since 2008, even though I was, sitting there with 13,000 books, the thought of expanding my collection was definitely not something I wanted to do. I want to reduce the size of my collection because I was not happy with quantity. I didn't care for having all those boxes everywhere. So I was downsizing starting in 2009. I'm like, okay, that's it. The madness gotta end somewhere. But even then, even when I started to say enough hoarding, quantity is not something I want. I'm a different collector. I cannot deal with quantity anymore. I was still guilty of hoarding. Okay, and this series really started with me going through my collection. The idea of this series is as I go through my collection and start to narrow down things I want to keep and things I definitely want to get rid in the next 7 years, I realize how many duplicates of stuff I have. Okay, it's just definitely hoarding. And one of the things that I hoard, because this series is gonna go through in alphabetical order. Yeah, it's gonna take a while. We go through the A, Amazing Spider-Man, and for sure, I hoarded a lot of Silver Age Spider-Man over the last many years because I like Spider-Man, and they are fairly liquid. Okay, you know me, I like to buy things that are easy to sell. Not that I always buy things that are easy to sell. I have plenty of things in my cabinet that are not easy to sell. But when it comes down to Spider-Man, it's easier, if not one of the easiest title, especially Silver Age, early Spider-Man. Doesn't matter what the grade is, low grade, mid grade. We don't need to go to high grade. We all know high grades are always desirable. Okay, let's be very blunt about it. Okay, even if you hate high grade because you hate rich people, because you hate people with money, you hate people with success, you still want high grade for yourself as well if you could. But yeah, it's never a bad thing to hoard Silver Age Spider-Man. Never, you know. It's if anyone come to me and say, Nick, what book should I focus on as far as flipping? On top of that list would be Silver Age Spider-Man, hands down. Okay, it's just, I'm sure what I'm saying here is not news to a lot of people that's in the hobby for a long time, right? And many of these copies came from the Spider-Man Silver Age collection that I bought. Has it been 2 years or last year? Yeah, late 2017 maybe. I bought a complete run, almost complete. There was missing 2 issues from issue 1 to 60 something. But yeah, so I was able to fill up some holes. I was missing issue 2, so that was the big plus to why that collection, because now I have the complete run of Silver Age Spider-Man. But as you can see, I am both a collector and a hoarder. Okay, for some people, they are collectors. There are collectors out there that just need one, don't care to have more than one. And then there are hoarders out there that like to hoard things. I'm in the camp of I am both. Proud of it. Right? So for this series, as I go from A to Z, I will pull out the books, show some eye candy of books that I have multiple copies, and maybe give a little story of why I buy so many books of any particular book. As far as Spider-Man, it is simple. I hoard it because I like Spider-Man. I hoard them because they are easy to sell. And if I see a decent book for a decent price that can turn a profit, I bought it. Okay, so there is no particular reason other than everything that I just listed. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Until the next episode. Bye bye.